Out communicates our president with Earl Small, who returns to action on February 3rd at Art of War Cage Fighting 28. Earl, how are you?
I was hungry, but you seen I just smashed a plate of food. I'm still hungry for this strap. We got 15 days, and I'm ready for this Art of War title. I've been fucking working hard, so it's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, I mean, like, you kind of just took it, but you are 15 days out. How are you feeling?
Um, Exhausted, which is good. Training is tedious, where it's at this point this is like the peak part of your camp where I'm just hurting and pushing hard and digging deep and fucking digging. I'm digging a lot, so I'm pretty comfortable knowing that where I am right now is one of the hardest I've ever dug for a fight camp. I'm doing a lot more weight training, so my body feels good. I look in the mirror, I got some big old guns. I'm like, let's go, ride that confidence wave right into this fight.
That's awesome, dude. Random question, but have you ever listened to the song "Good by Earl" by the Dixie Chicks?
Of course, yeah. I'm gonna tell you why, because my whole family's name is Earl. My dad, my grandfather, me, my cousins, they're all named. Everybody's named after my grandpa. So, oh yeah, Earl had to die. My name is Earl. The show, like, yeah, I know every Earl on the planet.
That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, every time I get the chance to talk to you, it's just the first thing that pops in my head. Goodbye, Earl. It's just every single time.
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was younger, I used to hate the name Earl, but now as I get older, I'm like, I don't know, I kind of fuck with it. You got to
I
grow into
mean,
the name, and everybody I've ever met named Earl was a genuine good ass dude. I don't think. I guess you get the image of Earl like an old biker or an old fucking trucker, but for the most part, that's a pretty good dude. Goes to work and like a solid ass fucking dude. So yeah, all the Earls I ever met were cool as shit. Get you a
awesome.
Earl.
That is true. That is true. That's a good it's a good point, man. All right, so let's talk about it. Firstly, you're not fighting for CFFC. How did Art of War come into the picture?
I got offered the Save FC title, which I low key wanted. But I didn't want to re-sign a contract. When I signed the contract with Save FC, I fought. I averaged one fight per year. It was I was with them, signed with them for 3 years, so one fight per year. Eh, and the pay wasn't the greatest. So I kind of contemplated and spoke to some of my teammates. It's funny because I spoke to my team, people that I work with, and I know in the UFC, Joe Pfeiffer, Andre Petrowski, guys who have worked with me and made that jump, and they're like, man, they kind of advised me, like, you know what, I think you can make a lot more money if you fight for Art of War, and you're gonna get the same kind of publicity and shit. Even though, like, the dude Beard, Donovan Beard, who has the title, I feel like I'll smoke him. So I low key do want that win on UFC Fight Pass, but I don't want to commit to another deal. Let's say if I don't get the call and then I'm stuck fighting for a smaller amount of money, like it's just not for me. So I'm getting paid big bucks and I'm still getting the title. And the last two people to have the title at 85 are in the UFC. So I'll just try to continue that trend from Andre Petrowski and Joe Pfeiffer.
Interesting, interesting. So even though CFFC is on EOC Fight Pass, it's a bigger promotion, eyeballs wise. You still think that going through Art of War will get you to the UFC?
Yeah, you know what? I just seen it with those guys. I've seen those two. Dre, I think he's only. Oh, he did fight at CFC as an amateur, his first ever fight. But majority of his career was in Art of War. He took one fight in LFA, and yeah, that was it. So this is becoming a pretty big regional promotion here in Philadelphia, and it's only going to get bigger when somebody like me fights on it. There's three title fights on the card, and they're three of the biggest local. This is the next guy to get the bump, guys. So um, this fight game is what you make it. So if they're getting all the crowd drawers locally and they're getting bumped to the UFC, then that's going to be the promotion you need to fight for. So, and I'm getting paid big bucks. That's the best thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're a prize fighter and money talks, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, low key, man, I would love to go in there and beat up that dude Beard and get that title, but even better, I would like to fight him in the Contender Series or debut in the UFC. Something. He's a good prospect and somebody I want to put under my belt. Like, all right, I think he's 8-2 or some shit. Decent record. Has the CFC title. Yeah, let me get that from you.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. All right. Well, Greg Ellis, man, what do you think of the matchup?
So, initially I looked at his record and I'm like, I've been fighting prospects. Like, I'm looking at like, all right, I just fought Gladfelter. Some people thought I was gonna lose that fight. Miles Lee is a contender for the CFC title, another prospect. And I'm like, is this the one for me? And I dug deeper into his topology and I was like, okay. This guy was 8-0 as a pro and then 4-0 as a professional. So, what he rode a 12 fight winning streak before he tried to take that initial jump. He fought some Ultimate Fighter veterans and just tried to make that jump himself. Went on a little bit of a losing streak. So I was like, okay, this guy didn't fight some nuggets and take a L completely. So he tried to fight some prospects, was a former prospect, and came back with a 2 fight win streak. So he wants to try with me. He's going to try me as a prospect to do the same thing I'm doing. I need a dude that had eyes on him, as a tough dude who's going to show up. He signed the contract fast, thank goodness. And yeah, as far as technical wise, I feel like I'm just almost better everywhere. He does have more experience than me, which a lot of these guys I'm fighting do. But I guess my experience isn't on Tapology. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 9 billion years since I was a fucking sperm cell. I was choking out other sperm cells. So we'll see. I feel like I got the edge everywhere. I know people don't get to see it in my fights because my opponents can't stop me from strangling them. If they stop the strangle, then they're gonna have to catch these mittens.
On paper, it is a very fun fight. Both of you guys come forward. Both of you guys are finishers. Um, is it safe to say you're leaving there with 100 with your 100% finish rate intact?
Hell yeah, I think I get this finish. I'll be kind of disappointed, and you know what? We'll see if I get a different kind of finish. You feel me? I mean, I know I'm just strangling all these dudes, but he seems like a little squirmy ass motherfucker, so I might have to punish him a little bit and give him a different way out or look up at the ref until the ref intervenes. So
Mm.
I've been telling my coaches, I'm like, you know what? I just want to bite down on my mouthpiece. I'm gonna show all these motherfuckers I can just bang, and they're like, "Trub, shut the fuck up. Do that when you're getting paid a bunch of money. Like, you don't do this here in Philadelphia." So, and I'm like, "Oh, you're right. You're right. Just go in there and fucking. If the fight takes place on the feet, it takes place on the feet." But they're like, "Bro, if you can fucking strangle this dude in 30 seconds, then strangle him and win the title." I'm like, "Damn, right, true."
So we're gonna have to wait to see the first Earl Small knockout of your pro career.
Shit, you don't know. Look, he stuffs the shot, and I'm on my feet, and I'm letting these fucking Jippo hands go. So, and it sucks because I'm working so hard on my stand up, and man, bro, I'm sparring with these monsters, and I'm like, yo, I want to display that I'm not just a jiu-jitsu dude. But somebody had made a good point to me the other day. Is like, it's not a bad thing. Nobody can see it. They're not going to game plan for it. So I love to think that my opponents are just wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu their whole camp, because you're just not going to compensate for my 15 plus years, close to 20 years of grappling in a 8 week fight camp. So you, it's just tough. I'm a tough person to train for.
And when they least expect it, when they keep, sprawling and trying to stuff your shot, you come over the top and
Yeah, well, look, isn't that what happens with grapplers? They end up seriously these jujitsu ass dudes like Oliveira or we'll use like Kevin Holland as an example. Guys with great grappling, they look like great strikers because you're like stuffing the shots. You're worried about the shot coming, and bank, one touches you on the nostrils.
awesome, dude. Awesome. I did want to ask who have been some of your main training partners this camp?
I've been working with a new striking coach, so I go up to King of Prussia with Algio, Bill Algio. I work with a lot of his guys there. He's got a really crisp room. Um, Bill Algeo is like such a crazy, unique striker, and it really shows in his students. He's he's got some pretty badass students there, and couple guys that have Muay Thai titles, USKA titles, things like that, and they're tall and long. So it's a pain in the ass for me, but I love it. My coach, Tim Williams, he's a UFC veteran. I think he's the longest reigning Cage Fury 185 champ ever. He's a freaking Terminator monster. I had said to my last opponent, I said that he was a great value, Tim Williams, and eh, you know, it's the truth. Like nobody can mimic this, no matter how big you are, no matter how crazy you are, digging deep. My coach Tim just, I don't know, he's got rounds for everybody, and he's a fucking beast. So I've also been working. I stop into Martinez BJJ, work with the Dawkins brothers. Coach Will there also gives me a lot of great advice. Just man, I'm actually really coming putting things together. I want to say for the first half of my pro career, I just worked at my school, and now I'm opening up and seeing that I'm fucking with the dudes that are in the league, and
Mm,
yeah, it's a good feeling.
awesome, dude. Awesome. What do you want your 2023 to look like, man? What are some goals that you're setting for yourself?
Hmm, that's a tough thing when like it's not in my hands. You feel me? I guess I gotta work anyways, regardless. But shit, my best case scenario, I get this strap and I get a phone call. I had got another phone call. I don't know, in October. They said, "Yo, it was a Monday. Yo, can you fight the UFC Saturday?" I told my manager yes. It just happened to fall through. The person I was taking the fight for elected to fight on the next card. So I would hope one of those cards come through, or one of those opportunities come through. Um, Contender series is a little bit harder. If that's the case, I would love to do that. Shit, I'd love to run it with Beard. I keep saying his name because it got offered to me. But if it's for the UFC contract, that's even better, way better. Uh, Maybe hitting the lottery, becoming a millionaire. You know, that'd be nice too. If I can,
Absolutely.
yeah, is that an option?
Possibly,
Take,
possibly.
Taking a trip to the moon would be pretty dope. Whatever we can, whatever we can get at.
Understandable. And finally for me, I didn't ask you last time, but I wanted you to talk about, so you fought JL in 2018, man. And I just wanted to know, like, when you got offered Jay,
Hmm.
knowing his reputation, like what like did you train for him? Did you think that you were just gonna go in there and smoke him, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like what was like what was the mind frame?
Yeah, it's funny. This is like people have been interviewing me, and it's like the third time I've been asked this. So if you look on Tapology, I was booked to fight TJ Sumler, and it was a huge fiasco. It was a really hard training camp and a really tough way. Just all the things could go wrong, could go wrong. And during the night of the fight, we're the main event. His team keeps coming into my locker room saying, TJ's not going to fight. He's not going to fight. Like, the fuck? My team's saying, like, you just keep warming up. Fuck what that guy's saying. So by the end of the night, my whole team is in his locker room, like, arguing and fighting or whatever. And I'm by myself. Like, they're like, Tro, keep warming up. I'm like, all right. Like, touching my toes. Like, yeah, I'm going to warm myself up. I don't know if I'm going to fight or not. So it was, fighting's already a very anxious thing. When it's going back and forth like that, it's really crazy. Eventually, somebody had came in and said, TJ's in his car. He's on his way home. He didn't even want to fight. So we already had, he drove from New York, made the weight, big controversial bullshit. He makes the weight, whatever, weigh in, main event. The whole night comes down to the line. I'm thinking about to walk out, and they're like, yeah, that guy already left. So I had sold a ton of tickets. I had so much sponsorship opportunities, and I was on a little decent roll there. That was maybe my third fight as a pro, and at that time I was ambitious. Let's go! Like I'm going for this, and it just took hella wind out of my sails. And the promoter had actually just asked me. He's like, "Look, it's hard to find fights, and now you owe basically a fuck ton of tickets to these people. We're just gonna roll right on to the next event, and I got a guy who's not gonna say no." You feel me? So selling 70 tickets at the time and having all those sponsorships, I'm like, look, I'm gonna make it up to you guys. I'm fighting this night, and he's like, I got a dude who's gonna show the fuck up. So I trained just like it was any other fight. Just use the opportunity to work and fucking twister his ass. So yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't say that on Tapology, but it make you know what I mean. It wasn't a fight just to fight. It was there was a reason behind it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, man. The context of it really, it makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes sense with it.
you'll see it on Tapology with the TJ Summer. It'll say bout canceled. Like some kind of dispute, equipment dispute, something like. He said his gloves didn't fit. Like, dude had fucking meatball hands. He's like, the gloves don't fit me. I gotta go home.
Yeah, yeah. I just looked at his thing, and his last thing on there was a canceled bout with you, and he hasn't fought since. So maybe you scared him into retirement.
Yeah, it was weird because he's a Bellator vet, and I got 3 fights. I think I had 2 or 3 fights. Like, so it was a good fight for me at the time. Like, all right, we're gonna fight a dude who's been to Bellator, got 4 times as fight as me. I don't know. He was scared at the time. It was in a fucking rec room. You feel me? It's like local MMA. We're fighting in a basketball court. Like, what the fuck? What are you scared
Right.
of? Staying on TV.
Gotcha. Awesome. Earl, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you have, and if you want to thank anybody, the floor is yours.
My man, you know I always appreciate the time you put in. The journalism stuff is awesome. I'm gonna try to get that tournament going we spoke about. I'm gonna train you to be the #1 journalist. You're gonna fuck all them other journalists up. Um, yeah, man, you guys can all follow me if you guys are even. This is the part I click off the videos. So if you guys are still watching, you can see me at check out the Instagram trouble underscore 302BJJ. And thanks all my team, Balance Studios, 302BJJ, my man Eddie Hall of Fames, Coach Will Martinez, Bill Algios. You guys been helping me so much. I appreciate all my sponsors, all the work. Everybody who bought a ticket, let's get this title. We're gonna bring this bitch home.